Well, I'm back to work on the bike. I'm getting ready to measure up for the cables, and I was looking online to see where you measure for the dimensions. And you really need to know the casing length and lead to lead length that you need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically push this cable to where the lead's all the way there, and then just measure from here to the lead and add that to the length of cable I need. And to see how long of a cable I need, you know, these ones don't reach. They're about a foot short, honestly, if I route them, you know, correctly through here, which I want to do because I don't want them chafing the tank in here. You know, I want them to go through here and back the way they're supposed to go. And so anyway, it said that you could use like PVC tubing, or gave a number of things you could use to, you know, small tubing that'll fit into here, because you need to know right from into there to where it seats in for the clutch, and which is this thing here, and where it seats in for the throttle, which is there and here. This joint here, this is all part of the cable, this apparatus here. This cable, this piece is separate, and you can adjust the, you know, so you can adjust it. It may be part of the cable, this part, because, you know, there's a lead on here and you're not going to get that off with that lead on there. So I assume that all these ends will come with the cable online. It looks like they do. It shows the cables, tells you how to measure for your length and whatnot, so I can order them. Got the new motor in my Makita. This is the old motor, and I don't think you can see the, well, maybe you can, a bit of the brushes, but anyway, they look nothing like the brushes. The motors were identical. This is the box the motor came in, and the motors are, like I say, absolutely 100% identical. And I just had to unsolder it here. There's a little red dot there. The red wire goes to the side the red dot's on, and the black wire went there, and you got a Makita that works now. Both directions. Yeah, I like this drill because it's just the size of it. You don't have some big, you know, battery that's, you know, the size bigger than my fist hanging here, to where it makes it tight to get under dashboards or in tight areas. I use this thing all the time. I use it as a screwdriver, and see, it has a drill, and then different, you can adjust to where it ratchets. There's a little arrow right there. I guess I'm bad I didn't show you this after I sanded it out. The first coat I sanded out, and then I just put a second coat of filler on, and I'll sand that out in a day or so. I like to let this stuff dry overnight. It shrinks as it dries, and I'm going to file out those holes in the hole on that too. But yeah, I just think it looks, you know, it turns out better if you give things dry time, so that can dry overnight. And it's cold and snowy out, so I'm not going to be painting anyway. In the next, we're supposed to get another inch of snow tonight. I did use that, as you saw in my videos. We did get some snow, as you can see. We got about 5 inches all total of snow. But yeah, and I've been taking outdoor Christmas lights down. I took the front lights down, all the cedar ropings in there. Well, I took the ones on the house. One in the bushes are still there because they're caked in snow and kind of frozen, so I'll worry about them another time. But anyway, let me let that dry, and we'll give that another sand. I'll show you the next time after it's sanded out, and I think the next sand out should be ready for prime and then paint. Thought I would just show how I measure the cable. I just took this antenna coax, 75 ohm coax, and I stuffed it in the stop there. Routed it kind of where the original cable went. And down to the engine here where the cable will go. It will go in that little thing that threads in there. It's on the original cable still, but that's kind of what I need, and this is the measurements. So I measured the casing and the wire, the core wire, from center of lead to center of lead, and that's what I come up with. So I measured the throttle too, because they come out and around and they connect about here, and then they connect about here on the engine. There's a little bracket that I haven't bolted on the engine yet because it's easier to put it on the cables on. Will be easier for me to install the cables and then put the bracket on with the cables installed. This is the clutch end. That's the carburetor end. These are the control ends, and you can see how one of these is chrome and one's black, and they're slightly different. So this one you can adjust the cable length, both ends, and this one's stationary, so you can take the slack out of those cables. But yeah, those cables are far from reaching any way whatsoever, so that's why I'm going to order some new ones yet tonight. Hopefully have them on order tonight. I just wanted to make sure that I had all the measure. Oh, and I measured the chain too. So the things that I need to order are the throttle and clutch cables, the brake hose, the hydraulic hose, which I'm going to measure up next, and the chain. So I'm going to get an O-ring chain for it so I don't have to horse with lubricating it. All right, let me figure out the brake hose here, and then I'll order everything up tonight. One cover is totally ready for paint. This was the bad one. I sanded both sides. It's all 400 sanded right now, and I think it'll look just fine once it's painted gloss black. I'm gonna sand the other one out, and then I'll paint them both at the same time. I'm gonna shoot some sandable primer on this, and then give it one more final sand with 400 just on this side. This side I'm just gonna shoot one light coat of paint on it just to make it look nice, and then this side will get the full-on good paint job. Yeah, sorry the light isn't that good on it, but I put a couple heavy coats of this stuff on it right here. So hopefully, I'll let that dry 24 hours, and I'll give it a 400 sand. That'll be ready for paint. The battery side cover all sanded out. This one didn't need any work whatsoever other than sanding out and repainting. It had some scratches and imperfections in it. It just needed repainting. So that's sanded. I wiped it down with metal wax and grease remover, 400 sanded it, wiped it down again, blew it off with compressed air. Now I'm going to give it a coat of sandable primer, and we'll give that a sand and then a paint. That is the other cover all primed up with that same sandable primer. So I'll let that dry again. Both of them will dry overnight, and then I'll give them a 400, and they'll be paint ready. So hopefully we get some good weather to paint. I know we're supposed to get a bunch of cold weather, and it's snowing out right now, but anyway, I got a fender to sand, so I'm going to get on that. I gave the fender a good sand out, but there was a couple little, it was actually high right here, and I pounded it in, and I filled a couple little low spots. And then this was just some pits in the Bondo where I smeared some of that. So I'll give that a sand out tomorrow. Hopefully we can get this primed and ready for paint too. Well, this is another day I'm working on the bike here, and yeah, I've been dealing with dead camera batteries. It seems like every time I start making a video clip or something, about halfway through the battery goes dead. So I charge them when I change them, so I don't know. Anyway, the bike is, all the parts are ordered for the bike. Clutch and throttle cables and brake hose, the extended ones, are on the way. The clutch cable is no big deal. The one I ordered is 15 inches longer than the stock one, so I might have a couple inches, 2-3 inches of slack to make up somewhere under the gas tank, so I don't have some you know, cable coming way out. But the cables for the throttle are 10 inches longer than stock. And that's about what I measured they needed to be. So this is a 12-inch rise. The original bars had a 4-inch rise. The original bars were more straight out. These ones are a little kind of like that. So, you know, you need a little bit more than, you know, the 8 inches there. So 10 inches will work good. And the bike is running a little behind schedule. I wanted to have it done by New Year, but you know how things go, you know, especially I've been busy with other things, helping people with things, and Christmas holidays and dinners and parties and stuff. That's all over now, but that took away from a lot of days that I'd come out here and just putz around with this. So anyway, the parts will be here by February at the latest. I should have everything complete by then. And I ordered not only the cables and the hose, both brake hoses I ordered for this one and this one. I ordered this. See how this is kind of crummy looking? I ordered a new one of those. The hoses. This I'll paint flat black. That'll be trim black like these. That will look nice and trim black over there. This I got to start disassembling to paint. I'm down to the wire, just the last few things, so I gotta clean all this stuff up and paint it. I want to wait until I have the hoses so I don't leave the system open. Brake fluid's a moisture magnet, and I don't want to leave the system open, you know, for a period of a week or two, because the fluid in there will suck up the moisture in the air. And I know there isn't a lot in the winter, but it's still enough to where I don't want it in there. So anyway, and it's going to get all new fluid too. I'll flush it, but still the residual fluid will absorb moisture. So I got the fender. I'm going to try and get that in prime today. Both the side covers are ready to just give a quick 400 sand and paint. You can see a couple little spatters in the paint and a little nick there that the primer will fill. That's filler primer, so hopefully that'll, you know, take care of the issues that were showing before I primed it. I ordered a rebuild kit for the petcock. As you remember, the screen in there was kind of messed up, the filter screen, and just replaced the rubber and stuff, and it just, you know, as preventative maintenance. You know, the carburetors are rebuilt, all new hoses on everything. These rubbers are all new coils, plugs, wires. It's going to have electronic ignition in it. So really, the bike's should run good. Like I said, though I may have to change jets because of the straight pipes. They tend to run a little lean cruising when you have straight pipes because they breathe easier. You know, they can exhaust more, and they tend to just need to run a little richer at cruising. You know, when you're into the throttle or idling, it should run fine, but just cruising, you know, it might be a little lean, so we'll get that dealt with. But I think this bike's going to look good with that fender white. I was just going to paint it white until I find a better chrome fender, but I don't know. I think with that left polished and these polished up, new chrome screws in there, that's going to look nice. There's the lever for the brake. That's all buffed up. So I think it'll look really good. Anyway, I'm rambling on here. I should probably get to work sanding. But anyway, I'm going to try, and when I get these parts painted and that painted, and you know, everything's painted, and if I'm just waiting on parts and there's nothing more I can do until I get parts, I might just put this bike there and start ripping into this one, put it over there and start stripping this down to restore. So I might take, you know, it might be, we got until May really before you get good bike riding weather, and I've already ridden this a whole summer. Take the towel off and then you can see it better. There you go. The towel's dusty. I got a little dust on it. The towel's what I was sitting on my lap when I was sanding, so my clothes wouldn't, and everything wouldn't get all full of sanding dust. I could just take the towel outside and shake it, and it just keeps the garage a little cleaner. And then I can blow myself off or whatever with the air hose there. But yeah, I'm thinking of starting on this bike in the next 2 to 3 weeks, so we'll just see how things go. I do have a few commitments between now and February that, you know, I don't know, we'll see what days I have. But anyway, let me get back to sanding on this bike right here and finish that fender and get it in prime. The chain I ordered is a 530, I think is what they call it. It's the width is the 30, the 20 is just a slight narrower. A little I don't know, I guess it's a little more beefy chain, but anyway, the bike will take either a 520 or a 530 chain, but this is a 530. That's 3/8 of an inch in between these bits right here, and it's 100 links, which, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, that's how you count them, with all the master links and everything there in it. It's 100 links total, and that's a good length, so that's what I ordered in an O-ring version, so I don't have to, because if you don't lubricate your chain, you know, they pivot inside this, and on the sprocket is when they're pivoting, not when they're free floating between the, you know, when they're running in between here, those things aren't taking much load. But when they're going around the sprocket, that thing pushes tight onto the pin, and as the chain goes around, this generally doesn't move. The chain moves inside of this, and that's why you got to keep them lubricated. They get rusty and then they bind up and then they can break. But the O-ring ones have little O-rings between this part and that round part with a special grease in there that, you know, lubricates the chain for life. So just spray them every once in a while, WD-40, to clean the crud and give it a little lubricant between these parts of the link. You know, wipe it off, it cleans the chain, and it doesn't flick everywhere, you know, because you wipe most of it off. And that way you can keep your wheel and control arm and all those goodies nice and clean. I guess I've been rambling on enough here, so anyway, we'll get back to the video of working on hopefully getting some painting done here in the near future. My final 400 sanded the fender and the side covers, and it's pretty much all ready for paint. I went through this is the bottom lower part of the fender, and that's where this will be covered up a bit. But those things that go across them out there are bent too. They're not stainless steel or chrome plated steel. But I cleaned them up and straightened them up a bit. Painted the inside edge there like I did the fender because I think it'll look neater. I think this is the one that is more bent. No, I guess the other one was more bent, but you can see I painted the inside there too. The speedometer cable, I think, goes through that hole there. That's the lower one. This is the upper one. You can see a bend right there. Yeah, these were pretty mangled up. I tried to, you know, I'll keep my eye out, like I say, for a better used front fender. You know, maybe I think the white's going to look good on it. So like I say, maybe just as long as it's not dented up, if it's surface rusted, I can grind, you know, sand that out and paint it. But I painted the inside, as you see. Just looks, it'll look better on the bike. I did the same with the rear fender and left the chrome because it looks nice. You know, just looks cleaner with that painted instead of all rusty up in there. And then the side covers are all sanded out. So with this filler primer, you can kind of see why I use it. So there was a few imperfections in it, and you can see a few thin places, and it's sanded out. There's a little run there still. I got to sand some more right there, so I'll do that. Actually, that's a little pit. Yeah, this is going to get another coat of primer. This one's perfect. This one needs Needs nothing. This one had some marks there, but they all sanded out smooth. That I'm going to give another coat of primer, because that, I can feel that. And I'm going to sand that run out right there. Shoot one more coat of primer, and then tomorrow I'll sand it out. It's been snowing flurries almost all day, so I can't paint today. Tomorrow they're talking an inch of snow throughout the day. Friday sounds like the day to paint. This is, I don't know, I forget. Wednesday, I think. All right, let me get another coat of primer on. Second coat of primer, yeah, sometimes you need to do 2 or 3 coat sand outs to get all the imperfections, but one typically does it if you do a pretty good job to begin with. So that is a second coat, and I'll 400 that, and it'll be ready for paint. I'll 400 tomorrow, let it dry overnight. Another day of work here. I got this sanded out, so all the covers are ready for paint. These are both, this one I had to put a second coat because there was a little dimple there and a little dimple showing there. There's a couple little flaws in it that are gone now with the second coat of primer. I mean, you know, it was so minor, I could have probably got away with painting it. I'm going to paint the fender. This is Friday. Anyway, I got it all masked up, and it takes more time to mask it than paint it. But anyway, I wiped this with wax and grease remover again. So let me get the paint mix. This is obviously the paint that I'm using right here. So let me get the mixer turned on. We'll get it mixed up and start spraying. It's right on 40 degrees out. Hopefully this will spray okay. Hopefully it'll in view in the camera. Using a fast dry reducer. Okay, I'm going to let that dry about 15 minutes, and we'll put another coat on it. This will be coat 2. I'm going to put 3 coats on it. Coat 2. Final coat on the fender. I did get one little run in it. I'll show you when I'm done, but I'm not too concerned about it. It's at the bottom, and I'll just sand it and paint it. Or sand it and buff it, I mean. that's going to be the final coat. The run's right there, but I think it's all looks pretty darn good. I'm just kind of giving it a good looking over. Alright, I'm going to call that good. I'm going to get the black mixed up and we'll shoot the side covers. I got to clean the spray gun. Like I say, get this color mixed up. I decided to paint them like this so I wouldn't have a shadow from cardboard, and I'm going to paint the back side last after the final coat, and I'll hang a weight and you'll see, just so they don't blow around. But this is how I'm going to paint this cover right here. I think I'm going to start with the edges. Coat 1, second cover, coat 1. Alright, let these tack up. We'll throw another coat on them here shortly. This is going to be coat 2. Coat 2, and then I'm going to put a final on it and the back side when I do the final. I got one more cover. I like to take my paint gun and keeps it warm while I'm switching. Second coat on the second cover. I think I'm going to spray the edge first. Coat number 2. Alright, let me let these dry up about 15-20 minutes and we'll put the final coat on. I'm trying to set my spray gun here so I can take this in and hang it up, but that's looking good. Yeah, very happy with the way they're looking. Alright, one more coat. This is going to be the final coat, and I'm going to coat the back side too, so let me get it sprayed up here. I'm going to just spray this side or totally after I do this side. See how I'm keeping this from blowing away. good enough for this side. I'm going and hang this up. That's finished painting. Let me go get the last one. We'll finish it. Do the final on the other cover. It's kind of windy out today too. Just didn't want that wire to rather have a paint shadow than a wire sticking into my fresh paint. No, that paint isn't blowing in my face. I'm breathing totally fresh air. It's windy enough where, you know, the camera makes it look like it's coming towards me, but it's really not. Anyway, there we go. That is finished. Go hang it up inside. Oh, well, maybe not. It looks like the wire did hit the cover a little right there, so let me touch that up if I can. Can't hold it now. Might end up with a run there, but we can sand it out and buff it. That is good. I'm calling it good. They look really, really nice. I really laid the paint on in here hardcore because that wire, should have put one wire here and one wire there. But instead I had one here and it somehow ended up messing up there. But I laid the paint on nice and wet and fixed it, and it didn't run. And I sprayed this side just one coat. That's all it needed, you know, just so it doesn't look all dirty and messy. But this side, yeah, it's like glass. These edges were all orange peel all the way around, so I suspect they had painted them on a flat, you know, laid them on a flat surface and then sprayed them because of the, you know, it just looked really bad. But that's all glossy now. This is the other cover. So far it looks good, both sides. Don't see any runs on it. And then the fender came out really nice. Yeah, it's dry to the touch, but it's still soft. But I got one run. This is the bottom rear of the fender. And I almost thought about laying the paint on because the trim goes right there. So that's below the trim. So you might not even see it, but I was going to lay the paint on a little more and get that run to come right down even with that screw hole. But nah, we'll just leave it like that. But yeah, it came out super nice too. It matches the bike nicely. And yeah, I think that's going to look good. And I painted that inner lip edge there, as you can see. So that looks nice when you stand back and look at the bike, kind of like I think I showed you. Kind of like I left the chrome around the edge of the rear fender. I think that's going to look good though. I don't think there's going to be maybe a couple more videos on this bike and then it's going to be finished. So I got these all painted here, so I'll edit you up a video so you can see the goodies all painted and what I've been doing on the bike. The cables, I think the clutch cable is supposed to arrive today, and you know, most of the stuff will be here next week. So it'll probably be the end of next weekend before I get another video up on the bike. And then I'll do a separate video, like I say, of putting that electronic ignition in. We'll just do a dedicated video just on that. And that'll be probably the completion of this project. I want to clean the seat and clean it up and put something, you know, so the vinyl looks nicer, I should say. Tomorrow it's supposed to snow, and I want these to be dry to the touch before I do anything to stir up any kind of dust in here. But tomorrow I'm gonna clean all that, sandblast everything, get that ready to be painted silver. And who knows if the weather's, they're talking snow overnight, and then tomorrow, and then it's supposed to turn brutal cold, like single-digit Fahrenheit highs and -0 highs Fahrenheit for the nights and whatnot. So, but we'll figure out and get it painted up, you know, get it looking good one day. But anyway, I'm going to end the video here so you guys can kind of see what I've been doing on the bike and getting it done, and so I can get started on the 74 XL 250, get the 72 CB500 finished up first here, so I don't have to mix parts between the two bikes. Anyway, that's going to be it. If you like the video, that thumbs up icon certainly helps me out a lot, so please hit it. It doesn't cost you anything, and I really appreciate it. And that 348 engine icon that powers this covered up 59 Chevy will subscribe you if you like my channel, and thank you for taking the time to watch my video.